Right then, we've already said that the Discovery Service and the Swarm Manager are both vital to the cluster, and they both support HA. So a good place to start is deploying a minimum of 3 of each. Okay, well, the first thing to do is make sure that they're on separate VMs. Schoolboy error numero uno would be lumping all 3 of these onto a single VM. But that's IT 101, right? It's obvious. The next thing we want to make sure, though, is that the 3 VMs sit on 3 separate physical hosts. This way, if one of the physicals goes down, we've got potential survivors here to keep the business up and running. Now, I say potential survivors because what if the issue's with the rack that they're in? 3 separate physical hosts in a single rack that's just gone and lost power, had the AC unit above it tip water onto it, or maybe it's caught fire and it's a smouldering heap on the floor. These things do happen. Well, if all 3 hosts were in that single same rack, then it's bye-bye to the cluster and the start of a very bad day for you probably. So we want to spread these physical hosts across racks. So if a rack does go away, these over here keep us up and in the game. Well, same goes for network switches. And I want to keep this somewhat high level, right? But if they're all on the same access layer switch, whether that be top of the rack or end of the row, if all 3 physical hosts are plugged into the same access layer switch, that again is a single point of failure. Somebody fat fingers a command on that switch, and all 3 managers and discovery services are syncing with the same ship. So, stick them on isolated access layer switches, and then multipath them if that's an option in your environment. After that, we want to start thinking about sticking them in separate rows or even in separate halls. I mean, in most data centers of any decent scale and design, cabinets or racks are arranged into rows. Quite often, each row having its own discrete power distribution board. Yeah, I know they're often redundant, right? But my point is, separate racks in the same row can still have single points of failure. So, if possible, stick all 3 of these in separate data halls, so that even losing a data hall doesn't take us down. And then what about separate sites? And I've given up drawing at this point. I hate PowerPoint and I'm sure you're all following along. So if you operate multiple live sites, so multiple live data centers, then consider spreading your infrastructure across it all. And I'm well aware I'm flogging a dead horse by now, but this would mean that losing an entire site, so like a full-blown data center, yeah? Even that's not going to bring you down. Pretty solid, yeah? Okay, I know that for some of you this is like second nature and you already do this for everything. But I also know that some of you will be like, whoa, what are you on about? I don't think we even do stuff like this. Well, maybe you actually do and you just don't know. I don't know, maybe it's not your job. But even if it is your job and you still don't know, then I want you to seriously start thinking about these things. It honestly is the stuff that world-class infrastructures, not to mention solid careers, okay, are built on. Anyway, I'm going to run the rest of this course in Amazon Web Services. So next up, I'm going to show you what this looks like on there. But there isn't anything special about AWS here. All of this stuff is totally applicable no matter where you deploy. So DigitalOcean, Microsoft Azure, on-prem, this stuff all applies. The principles, right, are universal. How about that, eh? Anyway, let's go see what it looks like in AWS.